welcome to the Little Blue Pod. It's Jem here. Thank you for joining me, YouTube. I hope you're well. Welcome to Anxiety Part 3, Panic Attacks. I'm guessing if you've clicked on this video, you've either had a panic attack yourself, or you know someone that has, or you just want to find out a bit more. Well, in this video, I'll be breaking it all down, saying what causes panic attack, what happens to the body, the physical effects of the panic attack on the body, and most importantly, we're going to be going through what to do when you have a panic attack, or when someone else is having one that you're caring for. So what is a panic attack? Have you had a panic attack? Please tell me about it. Please tell me about it in the comments below. Tell me what you experience. Tell me what, maybe you care for someone who has anxiety, or might come from generalised anxiety disorder perhaps. Whatever your story, please put it in the comments below. I really like hearing from you guys. It's much more interesting than hearing to me talk all the time. What causes panic attacks? It's a sudden rush of anxiety, and it brings along physical symptoms, and it comes from the fight, flight or freeze response. Now the fight, flight or freeze I've actually talked about in Anxiety Part 2, so please check that out if you haven't already. In that video I talk about all the effects in the brain and the chemicals and things like that. So it's quite complicated, so I'm not going to repeat it here, but really what happens is you get a sudden rush of adrenaline, other hormones going through you, like cortisol as well, all these stress hormones that then make you have a lot of physical impacts on the body. So let's talk about those. So you can have a pounding heart. You can feel like it's beating out of your chest. You may even feel faint or feel dizzy. You could have excessive sweating. You may be getting sweaty here. I tend to get sweaty around my chest, which is odd, and my armpits. I can get a red face, and I can get maybe clammy around my forehead and around my neck and things like that. I sort of experience the heat all around here. So, and how do you experience it, or someone you care for? Do they get the sweats? I get very sweaty. I'm quite a sweaty person anyway, so that's TMI I think, but definitely when I have a panic attack, it's one of the things that will happen to me. Nausea is an effect that some people experience. I personally don't tend to get the nausea. I tend to have the physical effects on my stomach, such as IBS. Now I'm sort of going off on a sidetrack here, but physical effects of anxiety, prolonged amount of stress and anxiety in the body can have long-term effects physically on your body, and one of those is IBS. People can develop IBS if they have anxiety, because as we've said before, the digestive system shuts down, as well as the immune system, when you're having a panic attack or when you're at this fight, flight or freeze response. So I don't get nausea, but I do get effects of IBS. So if I've had a panic attack, it might be that my tummy's upset, and then maybe if what tend to happen when I'm depressed, I get the opposite. That's maybe too much information, but what do you get? Do you experience nausea? Do you have any experiences of IBS at all either? Chest pains, I've talked about that really with the pounding heart. Now I don't really get the pain, I just get a lot of, it feels like my heart is beating out of my chest. Now if you get chest pains, this is when people sort of say it feels a bit like a heart attack. Now obviously I've never had a heart attack, but I imagine what a heart attack feels like is that chest tightening and things like that. Now I just want to stress here that you cannot die from a panic attack. You are not having a heart attack. However, if you have had problems with your heart and you are maybe experiencing something, I don't want to go, sorry, I'm going too off on much of a sidetrack here, but just make sure that you don't have any other physical problems that could mean that you do have heart problems. Just maybe get that checked out. But like I say, it's usually just a pounding heart, and you might feel a bit of pain in the chest. But tell me what it's like for you. You might also feel like you can't breathe. Now I get this a lot, and when I had a panic attack the other day, I actually woke up in the night and felt anxious and actually had a panic attack, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was just like there wasn't enough air, so I went to go and sit by the window to try and get more air. But you can also get really shaky arms and hands. You know, like, I mean, I tend to get quite shaky as well, and you might feel like your legs are a bit like jelly as well, and just feeling like you're not really connected to your body, so you might dissociate as well. There's loads of other things that you could experience, but the problem is, I find with panic attacks, is you do get these physical effects on the body, and I can't stress it enough. The more stress and anxiety you put on the body, the more physical effects are going to happen. Probably said that too many times. So now we're going to talk about, mainly this is what the whole video is really about, is to talk about what to do in a panic attack. Now there's 3 areas I'm going to focus on, because these are the main areas I would say, and all this information today I've got from mind.org and also from the NHS Choices website, all searching for panic attacks, because there's lots of information out there, but I wanted to get the most important stuff for you guys now. So there's 3 areas: breathing, shifting focus, and reassuring thoughts. Breathing. Now this is probably the main issue I struggle with when I'm having a panic attack, is to get my breathing back down to a regular level. So this is what you probably will sound like, this is what I sound like when I'm having a panic attack. Right, it's really, really horrible. It's really horrible, and if you're with someone who's having that, it's also very horrible. And what we need to do is get that breathing slowed down. And if you're having a panic attack, it's likely that you're breathing in and out through the mouth. We want to slow it down, we want to control it, we want to really focus on our breathing, to stop thinking about everything else and come into the moment, into that moment of the breath. So we want to be able to slow it down by going so we want to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And what I find helps is if I say I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out in my head. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, I'm breathing in, breathing out. Now you might be quite quick to start with, but all you can do is just try and get those breaths to extend ever so slightly each time. So even if it's for 1 second, the next time it's 2 seconds. See? But we want to get that breathing, so we want to get to a point. So we start off trying to get to maybe 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then maybe to 3. And maybe to 4. And when we start to slow the breathing down, you'll really see the rest of the symptoms slowing down as well. You'll probably start to cool down. Your heart rate will start to slow down, or and you can even feel your pulse. It might be racing. But towards the end, when you start to focus on this breathing, and it's very hard, but I find if you're thinking about the breath and you're saying the breath in your head, you're focusing purely on the breath. Now try it now for me. I know you're not having a panic attack, but let's just do it together. Let's go in for 2, then out for 2, in for 3, out for 3, then in for 4, out for 4, and let's see how that goes. So ready? After 3, 1, 2, 3. And eventually we want to get to a point where you're breathing in for 8, breathing out for 8. And once we've got to that level, you should start to notice everything else coming down. It's quite hard, but just focus. Think breath, hear breath, do breath. 3 things. Think, say it, do it. Okay? If you do it all like that, anything else you're thinking about won't be able to pop into your head, because you will be purely focusing on the breath. The next way to do this is to shift focus. Now you can do this 2 ways. You can focus on an inanimate object, which I'm going to do now. So what we can do is, if we're panicking, just find something, anything. It could be your makeup, it could be your microphone, anything that's interesting, that's got different textures, colours, shapes, whatever. I mean, this is what one would call mindfulness, or part of mindfulness. I don't want to talk about that, we're doing another video. So what can I see? What the whole thing is to focus on this object. What can you see? What's different about it? Use as many of your senses as you can to explore this object. So even if you're like, yeah, it doesn't really sound like anything, it doesn't really smell like anything, it's still, you're thinking about that rather than being in your panic, in your state of panic. You're focusing rather than panicking. So for me, I can say this has got different flowers. Looks like it's been hand painted. It's solid ceramic. It's got writing on the bottom, and it's got outlines. Whatever you can do, pick it apart and do that for 10 minutes. By the end of the first 5 minutes, your heart rate, everything else will start to come down. You can combine this with the breathing, or just do this, then the breathing, whichever way you want to do it. Focusing on something will distract you from the panic and take you to the present moment. Another way to do this is through listening to music. This will help you to distract yourself. So it could be that you personally, when I'm feeling really, really sad, I might want to put on some classical music. When I'm feeling angry, I might want to put on some drum and bass, or whatever. Listen to music, and with the music, focus on your breathing, and even listen to the music whilst focusing on your object. Whichever one you want to do, it's about getting away from the panic and being in the present moment. And finally, what I would suggest is a really good thing to do when you're coming out of the panic attack. I mean, you could try it whilst you're there, and actually this is a really good one if you want to support someone who's having a panic attack, to help them go through some reassuring thoughts. So saying things like, I'm a nice person, I deserve to be on this planet, I am unique, I am kind, I have lots to offer. Things like that. They're just some examples, but think of your own. You probably think of better ones. To take your mind out of the panic, out of that stress, and into the here and now, the present. So that's breathing, shifting the focus by focusing on something or listening to music, and then finally some reassuring thoughts. I'm going to be going through a challenging distorted thinking, so you might get some more information from that, and that's coming out later in the year. But if you can, as a carer or someone that someone you love has panic attacks, help them through these phases. So you can help them with their breathing, do the counting for them. You could do the counting, or you could go and say, right, you sit there, I'm going to find some objects. Whatever you think, if you can have a conversation with each other, either, not right in the middle of a panic attack, because when that's happening you're immersed in that space and you don't really want to do that, but maybe when you're at a more stable place with your carer or with the person you love that has panic attacks, talk to each other and say what works for you, because focusing on an inanimate object may make you want to throw it across the room, but listening to some music may really, really help. Whatever works for you. The main thing is to focus on the breathing, take you away from the panic and get you into the present moment. I hope this video has been useful to learn about panic attacks. I'm going to be doing other videos on breathing, distracting techniques, all of that stuff, but I'm hoping today it's given you some really, really interesting, helpful information that will help you through your panic attack or someone that you care for to cope with theirs. If you have any comments or questions, please put them in space below. Please tell me about your panic attacks. Do you care for someone who has panic attacks? Are they quite regular? Have you learned something in this video today that's going to be helpful? Or have you got any tips for me that maybe I have forgotten to say about panic attacks? Whatever you want to do, please get involved. Let's get some dialogue going about something that is a really, really scary thing to experience. And my heart goes out to anyone that has panic attacks or anyone that cares for people with panic attacks. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already.